Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate RingsideNews.com. Got your questions here from spring.me/AaronRift. This will actually be an extended edition of NoDQ&A video. Got a lot of questions here that I'm trying to catch up with and answer before they get too dated. And I just wanted to remind people that when you submit questions to spring.me/AaronRift, try to come up with original questions that I have not answered before on video. I know that's very difficult, and I've done 527 videos, answered tons of questions, and obviously people haven't watched all the videos, so some people out there don't know what I've answered, what I haven't answered. Just try to send me something original if you can, and please do not send me like 10, 15 questions at a time, hoping that I'll answer one. Try to come up with one or two really good original questions. Now that I got that out of the way, let's get down to your questions here. First one from NJPW for Life. WWE fans have a history of short-term memory loss. With that being said, do you think WWE fans will forget about Daniel Bryan hype in 3 months' time? I think that the longer amount of time that passes by before Daniel Bryan returns, it's more likely that he'll get less of a reaction from the fans. I still think he'll get a big reaction, but the sooner the better. I mean, fans do have a tendency to have short-term memory, and they'll forget about somebody after a month. I mean, the old saying is, out of sight, out of mind. But with Daniel Bryan, I think that even if he's gone for a year, which hopefully that's not the case, he should be back sooner than that. But even if he was gone for a year, I still think most of the fans would remember him. It's not like they're that forgetful or new fans are watching and old fans are already watching something else. I think that you would still have most of the people into Daniel Bryan, but to what degree, that would be a big question mark. And I think that, the yes chant as far as that goes, and if people are still going to be doing that, the sooner he comes back, the better. And I got this question here from Brock the Animal. Hey, Aaron. Why are WWE trying to rush Daniel Bryan back? I hear that they want him back for Survivor Series, but why would they bring him back to a B+ pay-per-view? Why not let him rest and bring him back at the Royal Rumble? Do they need him right now? Thanks. Well, maybe they want to bring back the B+ player to the B+ pay-per-view. But no, seriously, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, WWE realizes this. They realize that the sooner they bring back Daniel Bryan, the better. And, they don't want his momentum to cool off more than it has to. So the sooner you can get him back in action, the better. And also, they could use Daniel Bryan. I mean, Daniel Bryan's absence in WWE is definitely felt. And with Daniel Bryan back, he is a key player. He is an A+ player, whether Triple H wants to admit it publicly or not. He is very valuable to WWE, not just as an attraction, but also the quality of the matches. When Daniel Bryan's involved, it definitely improves your show as a whole. Daniel Bryan is important to WWE. And, I've gotten questions about what will happen when Daniel Bryan returns. How will he be pushed? Will he still be a top star in WWE? I got this question here from Chris Mace 39628. Please answer in video. With Daniel Bryan getting injured so shortly after he won the title, do you believe it was a waste by WWE to put the title on him? And if not, could we see him win it back immediately after his return or never again? On one hand, I see Daniel Bryan and his career similar to how WWE handled Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was an internet favorite. Everyone loved the guy. Excellent technical wrestler. One of the best in-ring performers in WWE. But Chris Benoit was never going to be a guy that WWE built their entire company around. He was never going to be a Hulk Hogan or a John Cena or a Rock or Austin or any of those guys. WWE gave in. They put the title on Benoit. He had a decent run, and then it was over, and Chris Benoit was back as an upper mid-carder where he was close to the top of the card, but he was never the top guy or in the top storyline. As far as Daniel Bryan goes, I think that he will always be in the upper mid-card in WWE. He's never going to be how he was before, where he loses at WrestleMania to Sheamus in 10 seconds. Those days are gone. Daniel Bryan will always have a prominent spot on the WWE roster. Will he be WWE champion again? Once again, it depends on how soon he returns. If he comes back soon, I could see WWE giving him another title reign, or at least putting him back in the title picture. Maybe a match with Brock Lesnar, maybe a match with Roman Reigns down the line. But if he's gone for a long period of time, it's more likely that they'll bring him back, initially push him, and then he'll just be there as an upper mid-carder that can be relied on to have a great match, towards the top of the card, similar to Chris Benoit. So I think that if he comes back soon, he'll get a big push. And it also depends, going back to earlier, how much the fans are into him. I mean, it depends on how WWE books him and how the crowd reacts to him. And for Daniel Bryan, the sooner the better. You don't want to rush it too much. You want to come back when you're 100% healthy, or as close to 100% as possible. But at the same time, that momentum just slowly fades away the longer you're gone. And some guys are immune to it. I mean, Steve Austin can be gone for a long period of time. When he had his neck injury, he was gone for a full year, almost a full year. And he came back, and it was like he never left. So some guys can recover, others can't. Daniel Bryan might be somewhere in the middle. We'll have to wait and see. All right, this one comes from RockyFan98. Please answer in next video. When do you think Dean Ambrose will come back? When do you think he'll come back? And do you think he will be in the WWE World Championship picture? I don't see Dean Ambrose being in the title picture right away, with Brock Lesnar being the champion. And if the plan is for Brock Lesnar to drop the title to Roman Reigns or somebody else at WrestleMania, wouldn't make sense to put Dean Ambrose in the title picture. I see him continuing his feud with Seth Rollins, and that will go on at least through Hell in a Cell, and maybe even beyond. Maybe they'll put in Dean Ambrose and Randy Orton for a feud for the rest of the year, something like that. But certainly after WrestleMania, if Roman Reigns becomes WWE champion, you could always turn Dean Ambrose heel and do a feud between those two, do a three-way feud with the Shield for the title. So definitely in 2015, I think the odds of him being in the WWE title picture are quite strong, especially if Roman Reigns is the champion. You have that natural feud between the former Shield members. All right, this one comes from TyRick923. Haire, what are your thoughts on the career of Sean OHaire, and do you feel he is underrated and could have gotten a better push after his feud with Hulk Hogan? Very sad to hear about Sean OHaire apparently committing suicide. That is what is being speculated right now. Not 100% confirmed yet. But, just another example of a wrestler who dies too young. And as far as him being underrated or not, I mean, I think he should have been a bigger star than he was. First of all, he had the look. I mean, he was built up. He was jacked. He was tall. He had the right look to be a major star, especially in WWE. But for whatever reason, things did not work out. I think that his gimmick was interesting. It was something unique. And I thought it would go somewhere. But what happened was he was paired up with Roddy Piper, and Roddy Piper ended up getting fired, and Sean OHaire was just in a bad spot because once Piper was gone, he got lost in the shuffle, and he just faded away, and WWE never really did anything with him after that. So, it was just a bad break for him. Maybe if Piper had stuck around, maybe if somebody had an idea for Sean OHaire, he could have been a major star in WWE, but unfortunately it was not meant to be. All right, this one comes from WWE Portugal. Haire, if TNA that has a regular 1 million weekly watchers cannot get a TV deal, how will GFW, a company without any kind of fan base, get one? Well, that is a very good question. With GFW, it's going to be a uphill battle. It's going to take a long time. You cannot just snap your fingers and get a TV deal. And like I've said before, if Spike TV does not want to renew TNA, it's unlikely that they are going to pick up another wrestling show, especially one that is untested and doesn't have any brand value or recognition. With GFW, they're just going to have to slowly build up word of mouth, and it's going to be critical for them to put on good shows right from the get-go and build up a reputation. But you look at Ring of Honor, they don't even have national television, and they've been around for years and they've developed a good reputation. It's very tough for another company to get off the ground. It's going to take a lot of money and maybe some luck. There's a lot of factors, and GFW, Jeff Jarrett, they definitely will have their work cut out for them. All right, this one comes from CM Bucks. Hair, do you think Sami Zayn will debut at the Rumble or something and then feud with Cesaro for the U.S. title at WrestleMania? I think it could be match of the year if they put it all on the line, and it could launch Zayn's career. Your thoughts? Thanks. Well, I love the idea of doing Sami Zayn versus Cesaro based off of their matches in NXT. I think that would be a tremendous match to do to establish Sami Zayn in WWE on the main roster. But I think it's more likely that he'll come in after WrestleMania. I mean, that's just how WWE traditionally does things. They introduce new characters right after WrestleMania. That's what they did this year with Paige and Bo Dallas and Adam Rose. And you go back many years, they've always done this. Umaga came in after WrestleMania 22. Characters like Val Venus came in after WrestleMania 14. The problem with introducing him before WrestleMania is the possibility of him getting lost in the shuffle right away because he's not going to be seen as a priority. The priority is going to be to build up the main matches for WrestleMania, and I don't think WWE would consider Sami Zayn versus Cesaro to be a priority match. So it might be better to hold off on that. WrestleMania would be a great place for them to face off, but I think it's more likely that if it happens, it'll be after WrestleMania. And you have to keep in mind, too, that if Sami Zayn was to wrestle at WrestleMania against Cesaro, there's a good chance a lot of the crowd will not know who he is. And, 70,000 people, you really do not want to put somebody out there who's not established on national television as a major superstar. It would be very risky. All right, this one comes from Lewis D3. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on the rumored Bray Wyatt versus Ziggler feud after Night of Champions? I think that feud could restore relevance to the IC title, along with having some great mic and ring work in the process for the coming months. Please answer. I think that it's probably not going to elevate Bray Wyatt at all. If anything, it's a step down for him to be in an IC title feud. But at the same time, it could be a positive for Dolph Ziggler. The fact that over the past several months, he hasn't really had anything significant to do, and then he did win the IC title at SummerSlam. And that feud could have some potential, and you have two guys that are hungry and want to move up the ladder in WWE. So when you have two guys like that going against each other, it could be a feud that if both guys have the chemistry together and give it their best effort, it could elevate both of them in the long run. So definitely has potential to be something if WWE gives them the opportunity. All right, this one comes from Lil Gags 66183. Hey Aaron, finally asking a question for the first time since your first video. But if GFW got a TV deal, would you review and answer questions about it like WWE and TNA? Absolutely. If GFW gets off the ground and they bring in some top talent and they get some national exposure, absolutely, I would love to cover them. And NoDQ.com started covering TNA right from the get-go. Even though they weren't on national television, they had the major stars, and they were essentially the number 2 promotion. So I was covering TNA from the very get-go on NoDQ.com. People always ask me, why don't you cover Ring of Honor? I don't really watch it. I haven't followed it. Ring of Honor has always felt like an indie promotion to me. You rarely see any of the major superstars going to Ring of Honor. I mean, they did have Ric Flair for a brief period, but to me, it's just more of an indie promotion. If GFW is really going all out and trying to be major league, and they go somewhere, I mean, I would definitely cover them on NoDQ.com and follow them. All right, this one comes from Will J. Jones. And by the way, I mean, nothing against Ring of Honor. It's just that covering WWE and TNA is a handful enough as it is already. I'm already watching too much wrestling to begin with, so I cannot even tackle Ring of Honor if I wanted to. But GFW, like I said, if they can get some momentum, I would definitely start looking into them. But now moving on to the next question here. Do you think we could ever see an NXT match at WrestleMania on the main card or pre-show? Thanks and keep up the good work. Well, going back to earlier, there would be some concern that you would do a match from NXT at WrestleMania and the crowd would be completely dead for it because most of the fans would not be familiar with NXT. And even though NXT is on the WWE network, not everybody watches NXT. That would definitely be a risky move to do that. It would be a good way to promote NXT and to motivate the NXT talent because their attitudes would be, if we work hard, we have the potential to get on WrestleMania even if we aren't on the main roster. But then again, on the other hand, you might upset some of the main roster talent. For WrestleMania, there's a limited amount of spots, and WWE always tries to get as many people on the card at WrestleMania, and some people still end up getting left off the show. So some of the regulars, I think, would be unhappy if there was an NXT match, which would take up time on the pay-per-view and possibly prevent somebody on the main roster from getting a spot at WrestleMania. So it could affect morale. It's a tricky situation, but would not surprise me if they did have an NXT match at WrestleMania, just to be able to promote NXT and get more people watching that. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter, and I will see you guys next time for more No DQ&A video.